Can't get enough tugging? Go to extratug.com for exclusive content that YouTube won't let me post, and also a bunch of other cool things. Okay, thank you. Clowns. And I was gonna dress up like a clown for this video, but then I realized I'm pretty much one clown nose away from being an actual clown on the internet, and I have to have a little bit of dignity for my father's sake, so I'm just not gonna do that for this one. But depending on who you ask, clowns are either titillating or terrifying. A 2023 international survey revealed 53.5% of respondents were scared of clowns to at least some degree, with 5% saying that they were extremely afraid of them. However, in contrast of this information, in 2017 on Pornhub, there was a lot more clown searches, weirdly. 213% in uptick in clown corn searches, which is a sign of the times. But overall, we can say with absolute certainty that clowns make us feel something. Something good or bad, but something. But whatever that something is, it's the furthest thing from their intent. So how did these painted-face, red-nosed freaks become a weird, terrifying thirst trap in our culture? Let's find out together while I walk a mile in these oversized shoes. And at this point in the script, I was supposed to be wearing a clown outfit, but I'm not doing it. I already said that. I'm not gonna do it. So just stop. Don't even bring it up, okay? Our squeaky steps began in ancient Egypt around 2500 BCE. While we were thousands of years away from coining the actual term clown, the concept of comedic relief in jester-like performances is a tale as old as the pyramids. The proto-clowns of this era were African pygmies dressed in masks and leopard skins, who danced around imitating Egyptian gods to entertain pharaohs and royal families. And many ancient cultures had their own version of the common jester, and these performers were often the only way to show dissent against the oppressive rulers. During China's Zhou dynasty, the emperor decided he wanted to paint the Great Wall of China. Now, this was unbelievably stupid for several reasons. First of all, it takes a lot of money to paint that much wall. And also, mathematically, it's nearly impossible, and a lot of people would have died doing this. So who's gonna stand up and tell him he's a fucking idiot? Well, that's gonna be the royal court jester, UZ, I think is how you say it. He took the matter into his own hands. And how did he do this? Did he do a little dance in front of the king calling him stupid? No, he did something a little bit different. He put a giant penis on the Great Wall of China. He did that himself, which is crazy that humans have always been drawing penises, but I digress.
Do you have anything you want to say? That's very important. Can you say something else? Do you like pretty litter? Say yes, that's mean. Say yes.
I want my cat to be as happy and healthy as she possibly can to promote her longevity and so that she stops biting me so often. But the problem is, cats aren't like other pets. They don't let you know when they're sick because they don't want to show weakness, because that means another animal would kill them in the wild, and that means they're like little secretive ninjas. They won't let you know when they're feeling bad. And that's cool in a ninja kind of way, but as a parent, it's extremely frustrating. But in terms of my sweet kitty's health, Pretty Litter does a lot to let me know about how my kitty is feeling. Pretty Litter is like normal kitty litter, except it's better in almost every possible way. Pretty Litter is made with silica gel, which makes it way lighter than normal cat litter, which is good because why is regular cat litter so heavy? It's so gosh darn heavy. But the main appeal for Pretty Litter for me is that it changes colors to indicate potential health risks that your cat might be hiding from you. When the cat pees in the litter, it will change a certain color depending on what possible affliction your cat might have. For example, orange might indicate metabolic acidosis or kidney tubular acidosis. Red might indicate the visible presence of blood and potentially a more urgent case of bladder stones. Also, as someone who's been using this for a couple of months, it is very good at trapping odors, and it's a weirdly low maintenance. It's a very good cat litter. So if any of this interests you, head to the link in the description and get 20% off your first order, as well as a free cat toy when you use BigTug20 at checkout. That's BigTug20 at checkout, free toy, 20% off. What do you have to lose? Thank you to Pretty Litter for giving me a product that will keep this little terrorist around for as long as possible.
Okay, let's get you down. You're digging those claws in pretty gosh darn hard right now.
This did not have a great immediate reaction. The jester got whipped really hard, and the king threatened him to paint the entire wall himself, which is just a death sentence. But the jester quickly quipped back by saying, oh, great emperor, I don't have the facilities to do such a thing because I am colorblind. Which I guess was a really good joke back then. I don't really get it. But the entire country laughed at that apparently fantastic joke, and the emperor got embarrassed and he took back that little decision of his. And remember when I was talking about dick jokes? Dick jokes are surprisingly common throughout almost all of jestering. In Greece, in addition to bald heads and padded costumes, jesters often wore a highly exaggerated penis on their bodies. So I guess the fetish clown thing actually has origins in the very beginning. I mean, it doesn't work for me. I don't like clown girls. I didn't talk about that on Extra Tug at all. But like for other people, it's starting to make sense. You know? Whatever, moving on. The tradition of the court jester continued through the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. They remained one of the few voices that could speak freely without fear of reprimand, thanks to the concept of jester's privilege, what we would call freedom of speech today. This freedom, however, meant that the jesters also had to do some not fun duties, as in giving bad news to the king, and trying to lighten the mood whenever he was sick or sad, or whatever the the king was feeling that day when he wasn't happy. Historically, the jester's life seemed to be full of whimsy and wit, but at the end of the day, it was a really dangerous job. Jesters also were sent into battle to boost morale. They would sing songs and tell stories for the soldiers before confrontations. And also through my research, I found out that sometimes the jester would ride the troops on horseback to the battlefield, attempting to calm the nerves by mocking their opponents, but I can't, if I was about to go out and die in a field, I would not want a little imp on my back being a dick. And in the most extreme cases, the jesters would be sent out to the front line to like juggle swords and mock the enemy, which is like, imagine juggling swords while cannonballs are flying by your head. Oh my god. During the Renaissance, the works of Shakespeare featured jesters and clowns, which coincided with the rise of professional Italian theater known as commedia dell'arte. This signaled the transition between clowns being fancy things for fancy people to being a part of the stage. Commedia dell'arte played an outside role in this transition, as jesters all but disappeared in the 18th century, meaning clowns were now mostly known from this traveling theater and not the bullshit they were doing in the royal court. And the most popular of these characters was the Harlequin, and we're not talking about Harley Quinn. That is a hot clown girl, and I'm not talking about that in this video. I'm not gonna do that. Stop asking me to do that. Harlequin wore a black mask that was definitely racist, was a dim-witted trickster, and was incredibly light on his feet. He was also known for using a wooden sword like a fan, I guess, and he ate large amount of food quickly. That's, I guess all of that is very funny to someone in the 18th century. And to be quite honest, the modern interpretation of Harley Quinn makes zero sense with the origins, because that's like a blackface pig, and this is a beautiful woman played by Margot Robbie. I don't know, it's something to think about. But thankfully, English professor Joseph Grimaldi came along in the early 19th century and replaced the traditional black mask with the white makeup clowns still used today. He had great foresight into future-proofing things from absolute racism, and we respect that. Grimaldi's performances as Harlequin were so popular that he upstaged the other characters, with his new take on the clown becoming so iconic, it was simply as Joey. Literally performed something so well that it just took his name. Could you imagine that? Like, someone played, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good character here. Someone was so good at the SpongeBob musical that he eventually was no longer known as SpongeBob and was known as Dave. Like, that's the same level of performance here. Grimaldi's exaggerated expressions and demanding physical comedy led to his reputation as the father of modern clowns. He also became the archetype of our image of a sad clown. That is because Grimaldi's life was f***ing rough. Grim, if you will. He faced abuse at the hand of his father, who also was a clown. Clown on clown abuse, never funny. Lost his wife due to complications with childbirth, and watched his own son drink himself to death. Grimaldi channeled that pain into his performances, which were so physically taxing that they eventually wore down his body. After 30 years of performing, Grimaldi could barely stand up, and he lived the rest of his life impoverished and depressed. Once again, in Grimaldi's autobiography, he wrote, "I make you laugh at night, but I am grim all day." And I don't know about you, but I feel like he should have leaned into the fact that his last name started with Grim a little bit more. That's really good branding, and he used it for the sad last sentence in his life, but like, holy fuck, start with that. The 20th century saw many clowns employed by circuses, traveling the country and serving as entertainment between animal and acrobatic demonstrations. This kept the art form of clowning in the public eye. But it wasn't until the middle of the century where clowns would have their next big break. Bozo the Capitol Clown was created by Capitol Records as a read-along line of books in 1946, which, holy f***, what a 1946 sentence that is. And inevitably, the label used a series of television programs starring Bozo to market his books and albums. And Bozo the Clown is what Krusty the Clown was making fun of, but The Simpsons is so old and Bozo the Clown is so old that at this point, the only television clown around anymore is Krusty the Clown, which is a weird aspect of that show. Capitol sold the rights to Bozo the Clown, and he was transformed into a franchise that was licensed to individual markets throughout the country. While the friendly clown character had already been successful in his line of books, Bozo beaming into children's living rooms was a next level of exposure. Bozo actually had so much influence over so much of popular media. I mean, first of all, calling someone a bozo comes from him, obviously. If someone's acting a clown ass, you call him bozo. But he also influenced how people do children's media and also fast food advertisement and mascots. That's where they got fucking whatever his name is. What's the dude's name? I can't think of his name. Mr. McDonald? I'm freaking out. What's his... Ronald McDonald. Jesus Christ. But he made the clown a mainstay of 20th century culture, and one that would make it ripe for subversion and parody. The fact that half the population of America or the world is afraid of clowns isn't really a mystery when you consider how scattershot the clown's legacy is. There are so many different types of clowns that do so many different types of things, and some of them are murder, but we'll get to those soon. For instance, you have something like the Rodeo Clown, which is very different from a normal clown. The role of the Rodeo Clown was created around the early 20th century, shortly after bull riding became him a form of entertainment, which I find interesting because I thought bull riding was always a thing people did, but I guess that's a really recent thing. But organized realized that whenever there was a break in action, spectators got bored and left. So they figured that clowns, already a tried and true element of the circus, would do the trick. It's so crazy to me that if you go to a bull riding show and for like 30 seconds someone stops riding a bull, you as an audience member would be like, it, I'm sure they'll never get back up on that bull again. I'm out of here. Is that a clown though? Holy f. Around the 1920s, organizers decided that they needed to make bull riding even more dangerous for some unhinged reason, so they started using Braham bulls, which are massive and known for their extreme tempers. Bull riders needed more protection because the bulls were crazier and scarier, and they said, no, we're not gonna make them wear helmets. Make them go after the clowns. That'd be funny. So the clowns are there to distract the bulls if something went wrong, but imagine showing up to your day at a normal clowning job at the bull rodeo and they said, hey, we're changing the script a little bit. You might want to focus up here. The craziest thing to me is the solution to this problem should have been anything other than a clown. I can think of 90,000 things better than a fucking clown, but whatever. It was the 1900s, whatever. They were guessing. And that might seem intense, but things get a little bit more intense when you look at the other kinds of clowns there are. For some reason, we seem to love shoehorning clowns into life and death scenarios, and that's how we got the hospital clown. Hi, little girl. Are you sick? Good, because we have an adult in makeup who can do some kind of balloon animals, but he's getting paid by the hour, so he won't be here for long. The roots of hospital clowning started in the 70s with a doctor named Patch Adams. You might recognize that name from the movie Robin Williams was in 1998, but Patch Adams was a real person, or clown. He's a real clown. Obviously, the idea of a hospital clown is well-meaning. However, given that up to 6% of kids find clowns and doctors terrifying, it might miss the point. I get the fact that you go into a building and make kids happy, but you could do that by doing magic tricks, or giving them a Game Boy. You don't have to be a clown. Clowns are weird. I think the last thing I would ever want when I was dying on a bed is a clown near me. I don't want you making a joke out of my death farts. You know what I'm saying? But speaking of jokes and death farts, let's talk about the rapping clowns. There's been a weird amount of rapping clownery. And there's no way I can talk about clowns without talking about the Insane Clown Posse. ICP is a hip-hop duo consisting of rappers Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope. They started their careers in Detroit in 1989, officially donning clown makeup in 1991 in a perplexing move that officially made them the whitest rappers alive. The lore of ICP is confusing and it was very hard to research. They helped put the horrorcore genre of hip-hop on the map with incredibly violent and misogynistic lyrics coupled with rowdy live shows. These shows prominently featured the band and the audience members spraying Faygo soda all over each other. Faygo soda, if you've never heard of it, you're not an ICP fan, because for some reason these guys love this off-brand cola. Then after nearly 20 years, they dropped a couple of concept albums about the Dark Carnival, which turned out to be nothing more than some monotheistic version of Heaven and Hell. But as easy as it is to dunk on the ICP and their fan base, it's genuinely a pretty cool vibe, I guess. All their fans, although they're all white trash and proud about that, they're pretty normal if you don't get on their bad side. I guess normal's not the right word, but they believe in peace, love, and posterity until shit goes south and then they'll stab you. But besides that, they seem pretty normal and on-keeled. I keep saying normal. And also, Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope are pretty chill. Like, if you watch interviews with them, they're pretty on the ball about, like, social issues. And they've also sold millions of records independently and created an incredibly loyal fan base. Oh, and also, the fan base is called Juggalos. I can't believe I haven't mentioned that yet. They call themselves Juggalos. And whether they meant to or not, they created an entire subgenre of clown rapping. You got Twisted, Anybody Killa, and Blaze Ya Dead Homie. All people that I discovered while researching this. I'm not big on clown rap, but it's good to know there's a lot of options out there if I ever decide to jump into that ring. And while I could go on and on about, you know, famous fictional clowns like the Joker and Harley Quinn and the Krusty I talked about earlier, you guys already, and Pennywise, you guys already know about all those guys, right? What you don't know, or what you would like to hear about, is the clowns that murdered people. There are a couple bad clowns in history, and we're gonna talk about them. Speaking of Pennywise, many people blame him for starting a wave of clown crime that happened between 2014 and 2016 because of the It movie, and I was in college during that, and there was a clown in the quad, and Chris put up a video that I have of getting that information when I was 19 years old. I'll give you the clip.
What are you doing?
There's clowns in the quad.
Oh my god, what?
Yeah, we got a lockdown.
Oh my god, dude! No.
That's my friend Jerry. I love Jerry, I miss him so much. But as disturbing as it was to see clown sightings in the mid-2010s, they were just a cherry on top of a long list of horrific living clowns. There was Klutzo, the Christian clown who, surprise, surprise, turned out to be a pedophile. I think we all saw that coming. And Karlock was thrown in prison in 2007 after naked pictures and sexual videos of minors were found in his possession. Why are you all pedophiles? What's going on? Actually, Karlock was more terrifying than ever because besides the fact that he worked closely with children because he's a clown, he was also a minister, a marriage counselor, an employee at 2 different daycare centers, and a volunteer with the Boy Scouts and Big Brothers Big Sisters program. Let's do a little background research before we give these people jobs. Okay, this video immediately went off the rails. If you're still with me, we have some fun ones coming up. We're gonna talk about Pogo the Clown, which is John Wayne Gacy. fuck. We all know this story, right? Gacy was a really respected member of his community in the 70s and was named the Man of the Year by local leaders and even performed as Pogo the Clown at children parties. But it was soon be found out that he was a serial killer, a really bad serial killer who killed a bunch of serial children. He preyed on young men, often luring them to his house and handcuffing them after promising to show them a magic trick. And I don't know about you, but if a man says he wants to show me a magic trick and tries to get me into his house, I would say, do that magic trick right here, you f***ing weirdo. Do it right here in the street. Not victim shame. So this was different in the 70s. People didn't know people were doing weird shit like this. 26 bodies were found buried underneath his house, and he was eventually convicted for the murder of 33 people. And if you thought that's where the sicko shit would end, you were wrong, because John Wayne Gacy found a new art form in his end life, which was painting. Really went into his artistic side by making really creepy and sometimes self-referential paintings, like the ones right here. Holy shit. Can you buy these? I think people can buy these. By all accounts, he showed absolutely no remorse for his actions, and it's reported that his last words before execution were "kiss my ass." So, clowns can suck pretty hard. And yes, okay, yes, listen, I'll admit it. Some clown girls can be hot. They show up on my For You page all the time, and I'm like, I'll just watch it. I won't interact with it, but then I watch the video like twice, and then the algorithm feeds me more clown women. I don't know what to do about that. I don't know how to get out of this loop. And I genuinely find clowns terrifying. I don't know why, there's definitely something going on in my psyche that makes me see a clown girl, and I get a little bit of a boner. I don't know what that is, and I don't know why it became a trend, and I don't know why other guys like it either, but holy shit. Fucking me up. Just stop doing clowns. We're done with clowns. Humans, we don't need clowns anymore. Just be normal. Be a funny guy, but you don't have to wear makeup and be hot. Or something. I don't know. New videos every Wednesday and Saturday. Thank you for watching. Thank you to the Extra Tugs for subscribing to extratug.com for only $4 a month. You go over there and you get a new video every week, as well as a bunch of other goodies. You get to vote on new videos I'm going to make. Extratug.com if you want to check it out. These are all the names of the people that are going up. If you don't see your name, it's because you subscribed to recently, and we change it every month, just so you're aware. If you don't freak out if you don't get your name up there yet. Anyway, have a great one, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye. I know. You want to say something? No, you just want to be crazy? Okay.